Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. We're taking another look here again at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. The question I get a lot, are we going to hit 100,000 or not? Well, the truth is we may not. We came up to 99,500 here recently, and I do personally feel like just that we are going to see 100,000 first before we see a pullback, just based on that being a lot of, there's quite a large chunk of liquidation up there. But in the overall sense, it's going to be a very volatile next couple of days and or weekend. So just maybe be careful. Take a step to the sidelines and maybe just watch the show happen from a distance, right? Because it is absolutely kind of crazy market right now. A lot of FOMO going on with certain coins. Thankfully, we were able to take some nice healthy profits from what was it, AVAX. Took a long there, about 33%. For that's just a 5x leverage trade. But we have another trade, of course, that's down a little bit too because of it. So certain coins are doing well, certain coins are not. I would say larger market cap coins are generally doing better right now, but that's a conversation for another day. Either way, I just want to kind of throw it out there. If you're going to be trading altcoins today, just be careful as we get closer to this like monumental, $100,000. That's like a psychological resistance in my personal opinion. I feel like that's going to work as a resistance. But it's just like a really big number that, again, large psychological round number. It would make sense for us to either A, retest that and reject, or just generally speaking, see a lot of volatility in this area, in this range. So I do have the charts pulled up. Let me just go ahead and refresh this. I already have Bitcoin pulled up. Just kind of give you perspective on where we're at here with liquidation. Each one of these red bars is just kind of like a pretty large chunk. So we're looking at about 2.5, roughly 3 billion in liquidation for each one of these bars here. So that basically just tells us that we got some people that are going to get destroyed at 99.6, 100,000 even, and 100,000 and 600. So 100, 600. So those are the three areas, all right? And just some areas to focus on, if you will. So hypothetically, those would be good targets for longs, if you're going to take a long, or the inverse, maybe consider taking a short after those levels are swept, okay? Because again, $100,000, it's just that large round number. We may or may not see that, but I think as liquidation continues to grow, more and more people start shorting, we're going to see more likelihood of that happening. Again, it's happened time and time again. You look at this here, every time we've seen large concentrations of liquidation, it starts to increase, and then it just inevitably gets hit, okay? So as we continue to increase this barrier here, we got billions on billions of dollars at 100,000 to 101,000. There's a good chance we're going to see that get swept. There's another reason too here that you got to recognize that we may see a shift in momentum soon, though. Keep in mind, it's not all just sunshine and rainbows to the moon. We can see here we got very high liquidation delta. In fact, this is really high, all things considered. So in the last 24 to 48 hours, we've seen 14 billion in accumulation of longs at this level here. In other words, the truth is we have a lot of liquidation on the upside, right? But on the back end too, the lower side, this is something that's kind of going unnoticed, but you can see it's pretty clear to me that we have an overextension of longs here, okay? Now, again, generally speaking, when we get to the 10 to 15 billion range, it will reverse itself after a couple of days. So we maintain this level for too long, I would say the price is due to pull back, okay? So I think it's pretty safe to presume that Bitcoin will pull back soon. It seems also sensible that 100,000 get hit first and then the price pulls back. That would just be like a sensible continuation. That's basically what Bitcoin's been doing for the last 3 or 4 days straight anyways. So why is that going to change? So again, it's just one of those things where it may be best to presume we see a retest that 100K range first before the price pulls back. But no matter how you look at it, let's go ahead and take a look at the daily and kind of work our way down. So when we look at the daily time frame, let's go and get this pulled up here. We want to look at a few key factors here. And again, when I talked about this previously, the daily time frame is going to be like one of those false positives. It's going to show bullish continuation pretty much in all circumstances here. There's nothing that's going to be bearish about the daily time frame. So again, kind of take that with a grain of salt. This isn't going to tell us or show us any kind of shifts in momentum. The only thing this is really good for right now is to indicate, potential reversal. Because again, we can see we're starting to form a doji candle here. And if we close at just say 98.5 or lower, it's basically yesterday's candlestick closure high, then there's a distinct probability we're going to see the price pull back. Because generally speaking, when you see a doji candle at the end of a push up, we've also had 3 white soldiers here too, if you kind of count that out as well. It would make sense for today or just say this weekend to be kind of a red weekend, okay? Again, strong Monday through Friday. Typically, you're going to see some red Saturday, Sundays. That's just kind of the consensus there. But if we close on a doji candle here today, there's a solid chance we'll see a continuation lower, just basically implying that the bulls no longer have control of this trading session. Okay, something to pay attention to. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour time frame and see what's going on here. Well, quickly to note, let's see if there's any fair value or just what's going on here. Sorry, charts get a little funky. In fact, I'm going to remove the fib levels here for the moment. I'll add those on our playout chart when I send that later on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. But for the moment, we want to recognize that we are honoring our ascending trend line. We're over the 20-day SMA as well. Absolutely bullish. We are under 70 on the RSI, which is generally a favorable sign, letting it cool off. So if we go sideways this entire weekend, for example, there's a strong chance we're going to leg up again from there as these indicators start to cool off and reset. But we can see here, stochastic is swinging down. Of course, MACD's starting to diverge a little. So it would be sensible to presume the price is going to pull back in the relative near future. It's not like a completely illogical thought process. So what we want to look for in most cases when that happens, because this has been pretty accurate for the most part, is the hourly, the Ichimoku cloud. When we break below this level here, we've had a tendency of the price pulling back pretty significant. But as you can see, we haven't seen that at all. Like we spent maybe 10 hours below the cloud here at one point, and ever since then the price has been above. So I would say when the price breaks below the cloud, again, that basically be breaking below this ascending trend line that's running concurrent with the 20-day SMA on the 4-hour time frame, then at that point we'd have a situation where we maybe want to consider a short. Between now and then, it's just too high risk, and there's no reason to consider that. Here's something you do got to recognize, though, because this is kind of like a little shift in momentum. This does kind of tell us where we're at here. When we see the lagging span getting closer to the price action, that tells us that further upside is less likely. In other words, you should secure profits on a long position if you're in the green. That's what that's telling us. So again, conservative indicator, albeit it's still going to let us know a little early that you may want to get out before it's just too late. Conversion line above the baseline, showing we got good momentum, and again, we're above the cloud here. So we've got most reasons here not to take a short. I mean, I think pretty much everything we see on the chart so far implies that taking a short is just too high of a risk. However, we are starting to see just a little indication that we're starting to lose our momentum, and that further upside wouldn't make a ton of sense, except for the fact that we have a large chunk of liquidation in the range of 100 to 101,000. Okay, so that's kind of a large liquidation range. Once more, I'll clean up our charts. I'll post a playout chart here shortly. But at this point, folks, there's no reason to short Bitcoin, even though the likelihood of it pulling back is greater. If it does pull back, just keep in mind, we've got a couple of areas here. And again, I'll post this here shortly. You'll see those a little clearer on our social media. But for the most part here, when we take a look at these two levels, we can see roughly 96,700 as that local low. In other words, that's where we saw some candlestick closures here. The price essentially held at that level. Secondary to that, though, this is probably a little bit more realistic, is the 93 to 95K range. Again, I'm just giving you kind of a range there, a ballpark, but 95,000 is that close approximate of the next area of retracement if the price continues lower. So hypothetically, it does one of these, we should see some support there because that was a previous resistance. Once more, Bitcoin hasn't spent a lot of time in these ranges, so you got to recognize too that these little areas of potential support may not hold super strong either. So it's really a funky market right now, folks. Trading into this can be very crazy. And again, to speak to some of the trades that we took here recently, again, we took some nice profits on our AVAX long, right? But there's other coins too that have been fluctuating and above and below in their profit ranges. So it's just an interesting market right now. So I don't love trading these conditions, folks. Honestly, it's so choppy that it can be extra challenging. So just know that I'm finding this to be a larger challenge than usual, which is actually kind of fun in a way, but more importantly, not really a situation where you wanna risk too much, right? I maybe take one trade a day, one trade every couple of days. I know it's not a lot, and some people wish it was more, but the people that are getting destroyed right now are those just jumping in and out of the market like crazy little rabbits, if you will. Okay, so just pump the brakes, folks. It's okay to relax and to chill. You're gonna miss tons of opportunity. That's all the market is just pure FOMO. Okay, so try not to buy into it. Just work within your risk tolerance and make sure that you find the best trades you can. And take ownership of your trades too. Don't blame anyone else for it either. It's not really ideal. Again, it's easy to say myself because I have a few hundred traders underneath me, but on the same accord, I can tell you though that this is, at the end of the day, if you take ownership of this, you start learning to take responsibility on trades, you're going to do a lot better with this. This is going to be your full-time thing eventually. If that's what you want. Not everybody wants that, and that's okay. But I can tell you, it gives you it's a pretty healthy, comfortable lifestyle if you do it correctly. All right. Thanks again, folks, for watching. I hope you all learned something here today. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope to see you at 100,000. Thanks again. Take care. Goodbye.